Okay,
Yay.
here we go.
Good morning, everyone.
morning,
Welcome. It's 6
everyone.
a.m. on the 7th of January, 2025. A whole week has gone by, or 2026, sorry. A whole week has gone by on the new year.
Whoa. Wow.
Put in the chat where you're watching from, please. Let us know. I am in Central Florida. And
My last day in Sarasota for a little bit. Moving
you going
back
up to New York?
Being New York for a week and then back down here for a day and then California and traveling the world to share the stories.
We're going to be in San Diego in 10 days.
Yes.
And where are you coming from, Ashley?
I am here in Fort Lauderdale, so very close.
Oh, okay. So three of us are in Florida.
We're doing something right. It's a beautiful morning.
And wherever you are in this world is the right place to be.
This is true, and this is true.
So hashtag KMT in the chat for a chance of winning a t-shirt.
That's right.
And if you have any questions for our guests, we're going Algea, we're going to be talking to Ashley in a second, but if you have any questions for our guests, put them in the chat and put QQQ in front of it if you can. Well, what's that, Algea?
31 days from the Tampa meetup. We have just decided, the council has decided, with the approval of Dr. Kiltz, on 2/6, there's a party at his house. Bring your own steak. No, you don't have to bring your own steak, but that would be fun. And tickets are on sale for that and the Tampa meetup the next day. I put the link in the pinned comments in the chat. It's going to be great. There you go.
All righty. So, Ashley, if you can please tell us who you are, tell us a little bit about your health journey, how you eat and all that. And then we're going to be talking about some algae, right?
Absolutely. So right. I am Ashley, and I was grateful to be connected to all of you through the CEO and founder of the company I work with, Energy Bits, which makes the highest quality spirulina and chlorella algae products that we can access. So I'm joining you here today to talk about algae and also to share my personal health journey and how I've landed in a very similar way of health, wellness, and nutrition as what you all are so bravely talking about and educating about, which I'm certainly grateful for as well.
Okay.
Yeah. So I would say my health journey personally started in my teen years. I was always a competitive athlete and I was on track to be a scholarship gymnast. So nutrition wasn't talked about, but weight certainly was. So it was more about calorie deficit and what you're not putting in your body to maintain what they were calling a healthy weight, which I now know, now that I've got proper education and perspective, that it was very little about actually nourishing my body with what it needed to function at the most efficient athletic performance level, certainly, but also at any healthy level as well. So my journey started out more focused on what I shouldn't be putting in my body. And there was very little information or focus on what I should actually be putting into my body to achieve good health and good athletic performance. So it really wasn't until I was outside of that sport and that pressure based more on the aesthetic of fat versus skinny that I pursued an education in nutrition and started to really listen to my own body, which landed me in a lot different place than when I really started focused just on the priorities that were kind of placed on me through that sport and through that kind of lens much earlier in my life. So I've since pursued an education at the Institute for Integrative Nutrition. I do some health coaching, and I just do a lot of self-exploration, trying out a lot of things. And where I've ultimately landed is that my body needs a high amount of protein, very, very little sugar and carbs, and intermittent fasting works beautifully in my life. I'm actually right in the middle of a 3-day water fast right now. So I think I'm in the spot where I'm clear and feeling fabulous. But if I start to fade, I think you'll all be the first to know. But it's a practice that I work into my life pretty religiously, and it really helps me feel good. It helps my body function optimally. I am in great health. I have a lot of energy, so I'm very grateful for where I landed.
When are you going to do your fast, Dr. Kiltz?
Oh, I don't know yet. Next week, I think. 5 days.
And you do how long?
5 to 7 days.
Okay.
January, April, July, and October. And then we threw in a 15 and 22-day fast last year. We'll see if that happens again this year.
Oh, wow. You'll have to let me know. 3 days is as long as I've done. And
That's
I love
excellent.
it.
I do typically 3 days every month, 5 to 7 quarterly, and 1 meal a day is my general habit. And I'm always curious because, no other animal wants to be skinny. No other animal wants to get rid of fat on their body fast. Why do you think?
That's a good question. I think when you look at the societal pressures and what we've decided appearance suggests is the best way to look, that's got a whole lot to do with it, unfortunately. Certainly when I think back in terms of athletic performance, the dumbest thing you can possibly do to maximize your athletic performance is to put yourself in a nutrition deficit, certainly at a young age where your body is still growing and changing. So I'm certainly at a loss as you are. And it's something that I'm so grateful to be on the other side of. And, I have 2 young girls. I certainly educate them and prioritize their nutrition and above any and all things they're learning in school or they're learning from their friends, to make sure that they're getting a proper education around what it actually is to give your body the nourishment that it needs.
How about fat? We've been preaching for 70, 80 years. You have to be extremely low fat because it's bad.
Yes. And, we had a nutritionist coaching us to pair a fat with a carb 5 or 6 times a day. I was never so chubby as when I followed the diet that was low in fat, which then entered a lot more unnecessary empty carbohydrate into the mix. And I ended up putting extra weight on. I never had any energy. I was exhausted and I was always hungry. And, ramping up the protein and getting the sugar out does mean adding fat in. I eat fat now without even giving it a second thought. There's MCT oil in my coffee every day. There are avocados all over my house. Healthy fats from lean meats, lean proteins. I don't give it a second thought now. So I couldn't agree with you more. My experience based on the way that I feel and my overall health says fat, yes, protein, yes, as long as you're not putting in the unnecessary sugars.
I always wonder what other animal looks for fat or protein. They look for their proper human diet, which is either animals or plants or something in between, like seaweed. And so our macronutrient driver and science has actually screwed us up more than anything.
It sure has.
Nature doesn't make spirulina. Nature makes seaweed, right? Or algae, as we might call it, right? Or whatever it is. And I'm just wondering what your thoughts are, more sort of natural whole foods as a focus for so much of our health. And we're missing that.
Sure. Well, and that's, I think, a nice segue into, bringing algae into the conversation. Algae was the first life on Earth. It was 4 billion years ago. We know that Mother Nature gifted us with algae. And it is, in fact, the most nutrient-dense food in the world. That is a statement that NASA has made and that we can say proudly. This came from Mother Earth. This is part of our ecosystem, and it has 1,000 times more nutrition than a plate of vegetables, but nobody's really talking about it. So it is a food that Mother Nature provided. And in most other countries, people are already talking about algae, and it's worked into their daily diets and their crops and a big part of their industry, especially as it relates to health. But here in the US, we're very late on the uptake. There's not a lot of education, and a lot of people haven't really discovered it, and certainly not worked it into their daily diets, which is something that we're certainly trying to change simply by, educating and also, living the life with the proper habits that do include it as a healthy way of life. And,
so,
oh, go ahead.
Go ahead. Finish your thought.
Well, I was going to say, whether we're going to get into the details or not now, if you look at sort of the nutrition profile that we're talking about, we know is most efficient for our bodies, there are 0 net carbs and a very high concentration of bioavailable protein in algae, along with the vitamins, minerals, nutrients, micronutrients, and enzymes that it offers. So it's the same profile in its respective nutritious form.
Does it contain fats?
It doesn't contain fats.
None?
It contains, so I wouldn't say none. And we get this question a lot. Oh, go ahead.
Well, no, I keep on going.
So the profile that we talk the most about is the protein, because it's the thing we get a lot of questions about, because it's not a lot of protein, but it's such a bioavailable protein that it actually serves you, the equivalent of a different protein that your body can only grab a certain percentage of after having to go through all of the digestion process. So we talk about the protein in that way. That's unique to algae for sure. Then we talk about the vitamins, minerals, nutrients that it's able to provide in a far greater quantities and a more efficacious way of being delivered than vegetables, but not having any net carbs in any of it. So on the fast I'm on right now, for example, I'm doing it under the guidance of Dr. Kiltz, and she recommends that if you do need something to sustain you through your fast, you can in fact reach for spirulina, and it's not going to pull you out of your fast because there are no net carbs in it. So again, it depends on your fasting goals. That's a kind of a different, bigger conversation. But we talk more about the protein and more about the void of net carbs or sugars or fillers or anything else.
Although there is, it is actually a complete food in essence.
Yes.
And that's
I thought there was a little bit of omega-3s or the omega-6 in
well, I mean, every cell of every organism contains a membrane of fats, all membranes, and it has some sugars and it has some protein. So the beauty is it is one of the most complete foods, and this is what I love about energy bits and the spirulina and things like that. And interesting enough, I've been reading the book by Zoe, I can't remember her last name, I'll come to you in a second, Light Eaters. And there's a snail that actually eats algae, and the algae then cells will photosynthesize inside the snail, providing the energy created by photosynthesis. And so I don't know, it is, again, it is one of the earliest carbon forms of life, and that had more expansive growth rather than a single cell. It created a multicellular organism, but it really, I mean, what toxins are in algae?
No toxins. And, that's something really important to pay attention to too, because not all algae are created equal. So one of the things our CEO and founder, Catherine Arnston, who I know you know, Dr. Kiltz, she is steadfast around the way that we grow our algae in triple filtered spring water in Taiwan, to make sure that there is no way any toxins or any junk is getting into our algae, because we have to remember, think about the way that algae behaves. It's going to eat up everything around it. That's part of the way that it comes to its nutritional structure, right? So to take in algae from anywhere that isn't a very controlled environments you could expect and really assume that there are going to be toxins in there. If you grow it the way that Catherine does, you can be sure that it's clean and free of toxins and mycotoxins.
And it's a particular algae because there are algae blooms that are poisonous. So it's like plants, the same thing.
Yeah.
Yes. And so that's why it's important to have the right quality source and experience. How long has Catherine been in this business? And this isn't really a new product. It's been around for thousands, utilized by humans probably for hundreds of thousands of years.
Yes, exactly. So Catherine's been at this well over 15 years. Her story is that she had no experience in the wellness industry or bringing products to market or pharmaceuticals or even health, although it was always an interest to her. But her sister was diagnosed with breast cancer, and Catherine at her side tried to help her explore what a very alkaline, balanced diet would look like to help her during her cancer journey. And during that research, she discovered a lot of data and studies, just doing research, just like the rest of us do, trying to figure something out, starting from scratch. And she discovered algae and all of the benefits of algae, and then really could not resist the opportunity to bring algae to market so that more of us could experience it and benefit, the nutritional benefits of it. And this is well over 15 years ago. Her sister is doing well, which is of course a blessing. And Catherine has not looked back. She recently just got her PhD and basically sketched her own curriculum to continue to explore her education as the true algae expert. She's actually writing a book right now and getting ready to start her own podcast, but she has no intentions of stopping until the world knows about these benefits of algae. As you said, Dr. Kiltz, this is not new, but for some reason here, I think we could probably come up with some of the reasons, but here specifically in the US, this is just not top of mind. And there wasn't a truly high quality, clean, nutrient dense form of algae that was so available to us until she brought these energy bits, spirulina and chlorella tablets to market.
We have a couple of questions, if we can do some of those.
Michael asks, how often do you 3-day fast? I'm doing 24 hours every Monday, planning to tackle 3 days soon. That's for you, Ashley.
Yes. So I do a 3-day fast once a year. This is the 3rd year I'm doing it. I'm probably only about 3 to 4 years into fasting lifestyle at all, and it's been a game changer for me. I can share that I do a 16-8 fast every day religiously, truly without effort anymore, because it's just the way that it feels good for me to eat and manage my nutrition at this point. But the 72-hour so far once a year, but I would probably work in another one and build towards longer fasts. I'm super interested, Dr. Kiltz, in the way that you do these longer fasts. I was very intimidated to do it at first. And once I got through one, I'm like, what was I worried about? I couldn't believe it. So it's actually quite an amazing thing to do. It's entirely doable, and it feels amazing. So you can do it, Michael.
What type of things are utilized in your company that test for toxins in the products?
Yeah, good question. So we have a relationship with our growers that ensures the environment where the algae is grown. And then we use a third party to do lab testing at multiple stages of the process to make sure that everything is clean all the way through. And there are some checks and balances additional that we probably don't even need to make sure that throughout the entire process, it's clean and protected. And I would say, speaking to the growing process, making sure that it's grown in that controlled environment is really important too. I would say another critical differentiating factor that I would encourage people to be aware of as well, not just with algae, but with a lot of their other supplementation, is that there is no high heat used at any stage in the process, bringing algae into its ultimate tablet form. This is really important because really high heat can destroy a significant amount of the nutrition, certainly a lot of the enzymes. And so if the end product has had a lot of high heat on it, it doesn't really resemble the nutrition profile of what you're actually trying to consume or to take in. So you have to crack through an algae cell wall, which is kind of cool. People don't know about that. And you might even see on some algae it will say cracked cell wall. Well, you actually have to crack the cell wall. So that's not like anybody did extra. What we do is not use a high heat, and we use sound waves to crack through that wall so that we're able to avoid using a high heat and then able to maintain the nutrition profile in the absence of the heat, which is also really, really important.
Can't I just go like to my local lake or river or ocean and gather seaweed and eat it, and I get the same benefits?
Please don't. No, the reasons not to. One, certainly your algae on the beach is eating everything that you see, so you're taking that right in. But you also mentioned earlier, there are so many different types of algae. Catherine's identified spirulina and chlorella, which are two of many, many, many types of algae, and then cultivated and grown those to bring them. They have the most significant health benefits by far. So we would certainly recommend pulling the nutrition out of the tablet is the way to go.
I mean, Rick, we'll get chickens and iguanas out there, but you're right, because ultimately the waters that we're near are highly contaminated. And I know the lake I live in often has algae blooms, and I know the beaches they're putting signs up, don't go in the water,
Right.
from time to time because of the algae and microbial growth that can be very toxic to humanity. And,
Yes.
and I think that's an important one. What's the general recommendation for utilizing these products? And can you pick one or two and give us an explanation?
Absolutely. So we're talking about two products here. They're made available to consume separately or as a combined tablet. Most typically, we recommend spirulina earlier in the day. This is going to be really good for fitness, focus, energy, brain power, a lot of beautiful benefits on mitochondria health and endurance. This is your spirulina. What we recommend is for a starter amount, as an insurance policy on your general nutrition, you want to take at least 10 tablets a day, and they're teeny tiny. You can either chew them up, you can swallow them back with water without ever chewing them. You can crush them up and put them in a smoothie. Doesn't matter how you take them, just get them in your body. So we say at the absolute minimum, 10 per day. If you really want an accelerated dose, although it's food, so dose may or may not be the right word, 30 per day is the recommendation. Right now, for example, we have a beta test we're doing with the nutritionist at the Atlanta Falcons. And the protocol that we have the team doing there is 30 spirulina early in the day, and then 30 of the chlorella right before they start their recovery after practice and workout. So the spirulina, 30, I can tell you right now, I will easily take 50 or 60 in a day. I don't even count them anymore. I take a big handful with my first meal of the day, and then 2 or 3 o'clock, if I'm feeling like reaching for something I probably shouldn't have, I've trained myself, have a handful of spirulina and chlorella first. Then if I'm still hungry and my body tells me I need something else, I do that. And normally I find that it's satiating in a way that I haven't experienced with any other food, because it's just so nutritious. And that's also a feeling a lot of us aren't used to. I mean, probably a lot of your listeners who are already on really healthy lifestyle journeys might have a better a better experience with this, but we find very often that with people that are less in tune with their body and things that they're trying to heal weight problems are so common. They don't even know what it feels like to be satiated. And that's one thing that is really, really cool about incorporating algae into the diet. So I got a little off track there, but 10 is a start, 30 is best. Feel free to take more than that. Remember, it's a food, not a supplement. So how often would you like to eat, a low calorie, high nutrient density food? Then that's how much you take. And similarly for the chlorella. So the chlorella is a different type of algae. It has some similar benefits in terms of the nutrition profile is very similar, but this one is for detoxification and for gut health. So when we're talking about repairing the gut, improving recovery, accelerating recovery, also great for hangovers. You know, we go to a lot of trade shows, as I know you all do too. We hand out the chlorella like it's candy on the last night of the show when everybody that chooses to drink is walking around the show with a glass of wine. Chlorella is a very powerful detoxifier. So at modest amounts, again, anywhere between that 10 and 30 range, it's going to do a great job of pulling all of the daily toxins out of the body. If you take more, it can do more. It can actually chelate heavy metals at a large enough amount and be gentler on your system, still leaving the trace minerals in. So if you compare it to some of the options out there, chlorella, again, it's Mother Nature's product. It is perfectly formulated and perfectly balanced to do some really wonderful things. We also more recently have a community of functional dentists that have taken a significant interest in chlorella as well, because a lot of what they're doing is pulling some things out of the body with fillings that people don't actually need. And they're using chlorella before treatments in their protocols, and then also after to make sure that we've got something in place that's pulling and detoxifying things out of the body that we don't need. So our partners and folks just like yourselves are actually helping us find new and innovative ways to use this stuff. But I can tell you there isn't anyone it's not good for. It cooperates and plays nice in the sandbox with just about any diet, and it can only help with whatever program you're following, which is also really nice too.
Algea, do we have a link on Kiltz Health for this product?
We can soon enough. We will.
Yep. Let's make that happen because I take them. I think they're really helpful. It's interesting. Is there a battle between the algae and the other microbes in our guts?
I don't think that there is.
Well, I imagine that all organisms are vying for their environment, and ultimately the battle is the algae are working to keep the environment clean and nicely played in. And so it's because of overgrowth of some algae, some bacteria, yeast as another algae form, microbial form, and even viruses, they must be kept at bay, or it gets mighty messy.
Yes. So when you use the word battle, I was thinking, is this going to be distressing for anybody who has a mess going on that they're trying to repair? But yes, I like to think of that more as an orchestra, or more of everybody finds their place in the sandbox, right? So algae goes in there and it's going to take over. It's going to take over. Yeast is a great example to use. It's going to find where it needs to be, and it's going to work its magic where it can, which we've seen some incredible results with, people again who are trying to get a lot of that yeast out. It's very similar, but it's powerful stuff. So it is going to go in and do what it needs to do, and kind of crowd out some of the less fortunate players in the sandbox, especially specific to gut health, which is a good thing. Dr. Kiltz, how do you take algae? How do you incorporate it?
Oh, I kind of do it as it's my daily supplement. And just, to think about, I don't do 30, but maybe about a handful of 10.
Okay.
It's enough.
It's enough.
And I focus on fat in my meals, because that's that other part that, protein centric is protein poisoning. And people don't realize that. It really is the deadliest thing that we ever taught people is a low-fat diet.
I would agree with that.
If you have no fat on your body, you are dead. And so fat is actually the priority, not protein. And all organisms contain sugars, amino acids, and fatty acids, along with all the minerals and vitamins in general. But the difference is, in general, fatty meat doesn't contain the toxins that you find in the plant diet. And in the plant diet also fuels the microbes. Protein in plants fuel the microbes because they're fermentable, but fat is not fermentable. And so, but my daily is usually, maybe a handful, but it's not 30. And I think another way to do it is just kind of mix it in some lukewarm water. As part of your you might call it a smoothie, but I don't. I mean, to me, fat smoothies are what you want to do. Cream, eggs, and salt are the healthy things we're missing.
Yeah, I'm not a smoothie person myself either. One of the cool things that we do is, again, we're able to meet people wherever they are with this stuff. So if there are people that are drinking a smoothie and they think they're doing a great thing for their body, you don't want to entirely debunk their efforts, right? They're saying, I'm getting fruit and I bought all this protein powder, and it's like, okay, well, how much of that is actually really giving your body what it needs? Also, how much sugar is in there? Wow. So sometimes, we're making choices as educators, right? Okay, well, if you can add some algae or some spirulina and chlorella, at least you're getting some of this nutrition, and then give them some things to think about, like exactly what you just said. How is your body actually going to respond to the things that are in one of these typical smoothies that so many people, certainly Americans, think are healthy? It's tough.
And I'm not very good at daily, by the way, and because my usual is my bacon, eggs, butter, beef, salt, but it's interesting because Dr. Boz recommended them after my CAC score and CT angiogram, and I'm like, okay, I'll give a trial of all these things. So that's how I'm on my packets, including my spirulina. We'll see.
That's awesome. That's good to hear. Yes.
We got a ton of questions.
Go ahead.
Let's go to the 10 questions. Go right to the stars. Down the list.
Yep, down the list. Chuck asked, do you know if there is an issue with organic algae and oxalates?
So specific to Energy Bits, I can share that all of our algae are grown in organic farms. I'm not familiar with an issue specific to oxalates. I don't entirely understand the question, but this isn't something that's ever come up for us.
There's some oxalates in algae, Penicillus, Rhiphocephalus, Sporidia, but the question is how much. I don't know that we know that answer. It's an interesting one.
Yeah.
But most of this is prepared and it's not a raw uncooked. I mean, essentially it's raw, not cooked, but it's processed and micronized into a powder, correct?
Yes. So it's grown, it's dried, then cell wall cracked open, and then pressed. There's no fillers, there's no binders. It's just sticky enough that it sticks to itself. It's just like super powerfully pressed into the tablet.
What is the vitamin content of these products?
Yes, there's more than I can count. And we do have that posted on our website. So we have the nutrition profile, just like you would see on a label on the website. It's posted for spirulina, and then it's also posted for chlorella separately, because they do have similar but different nutrition profiles. And that's really important to know too, because what we find, a lot of people that start taking algae are able to back down out of a lot of the supplements they're already taking, certainly a multivitamin at the least. I can share that I've backed out of my multivitamin. I no longer take a collagen supplement. I find a lot more satiated without having to take anything else, which is really, really awesome.
And that's really why I take it, is because of the higher content of a lot of the vitamins and things like that, that I don't know. It's interesting.
Yeah. It's none of us are going to eat that in a day, right? So if that tablet is available to us and it's clean and it's highly nourishing, there's no reason not to. And then at the higher amounts, is when you really experience the magic that each of them can do, when there are other issues that you're trying to address.
Although the daily use of small amounts, again, from most people who don't even eat this stuff or consume it at all, may be adequate for so many people. We don't really know those answers yet.
Yeah, we don't know those answers. So we say there's no reason not to add. Start slow. I'm a firm believer in crowding things out. So if you are putting things into your diet and putting things into your body that are a good choice, then you're going to just simply have less room and less focus on things that are going to serve you less.
Go ahead, Algea.
Okay, next is Brody says this. What do you say? Algae has calories, so it will still break your fast. What about that?
Yeah, this comes up a lot. So I think it depends on what your goals are for your fast. I know from actually testing it personally on myself with a glucose monitor that it doesn't pull me out of a metabolic fast, which is my goal. But I have heard this before. I'm not a complete expert on it. What I can share is that over time, Dr. Kiltz, who is sort of who I learned to fast from, does recommend it on the fast if you do need to reach for something. And I did my own personal testing and it did not pull me out. So I lean on it if I need it. Also some hydration, also some mineral salts. That's how I stay in my fast and in a comfortable enough way to stick to it. But that is something that I've heard before. Not in my case.
We answered this one.
The lectin's different from other plants. That's a good question. I don't know the answer to that.
Small amounts probably versus kale salads and spinach salads and things like that, but we don't know that answer. I agree.
Yeah. We can certainly ask Catherine to track down some of these answers after the fact.
Yeah. Did we kind of answer this one already?
How's spirulina
Yes.
used over chlorella? If you'd like me to run through the differences again, I'm happy to.
No, I think we answered that.
Okay.
Does your algae have a long shelf life?
Yes. So you can go 3 years. It has a very long shelf life, which is a huge benefit of the product.
Cool.
Is
kelp a type of algae?
Is kelp a type of algae?
Well, we have Dr. Nelson used the phrase seaweed. Is this? I mean, it's a water.
The answer is yes. Yes.
I think it is. Yes, it's a brown algae.
Yeah.
Different from spirulina or chlorella.
And I know that kelp is being harvested in many places and utilized, and much more of this is being utilized as a food source for many people.
What is the pH of Chorella?
I mean, it sits right in the middle, anywhere between 6.5 and 8. So right where you want to be, very neutral.
Can the digestive tract naturally break down the cell wall of Chorella?
Well, we have to crack the cell walls. So we do that for the body. When I talked earlier about using a high heat to crack that cell wall versus using sound waves and different other mechanisms of action, yes, you do need to crack that cell wall. in order to get the benefits.
The greater benefits with less fermentation, I imagine.
And basically, you wouldn't absorb many of the nutrients if you don't, because our human bodies are not very good at breaking the cellulose and all these wall components.
Yeah.
What's the difference in the science of algae and the science and scientism, Dr. Kiltz?
Well, I'm not claiming that science has no value, by the way, when I use the word scientism, but certainly lots of the science that I think we've been taught may be wrong. And I mean, again, algae contains fats, amino acids, and sugars. All of it does. It contains minerals and vitamins. All of it does. But some of it may contain poisons where the cow does not. And, you know, where is a life by eating the organ meats and you don't need any of this stuff? I mean, you know, this is also in a world of a lot of plant eaters and alcohol drinkers and soda drinkers. And I mean, obviously we're in a unique niche in the carnivore world, but not all of us are always pure carnivores. And so, you know, well, interesting enough, my vitamin D is always low. So we'll see what this stuff does. It's all a story. Where to buy it? There's a link on Kiltz Health as of next week, right, Algea?
As of today.
As of today. That's what I highly recommend. And you know, again, everyone's going to be a little different in where they're at and what they want to do in all of this. Okay. And so depending on where you've been and where you are right now, you know, you may decide to take no supplements, including spirulina or chlorella, but you might find it helpful and beneficial. Everyone's got to, you know, do their own trial essentially, but you can get it online and we're going to add it to our site.
I'll add one more thing specific to where to buy it. There's one product that you'll see when you go on the website, and we do have your discount code set up, so that will be on your website as you list it. So you'll see spirulina, which we call our energy bits, and then you'll see chlorella, which we call our recovery bits. You'll also see a third option, which is called vitality bits, and that is a tablet that has both spirulina and chlorella in one tablet, so it's 50-50. Now, for a lot of people who really want to understand exactly what spirulina and chlorella do and what the benefits of them are, the preference more often is to take them separately. That way you can take more or less of one as you see fit. For example, my daily, I take way more spirulina than I take of chlorella, unless I'm focusing on specific detoxification goals. However, if you just want the convenience of getting a tablet that has both spirulina and chlorella in it so that you know you're getting some of this nutrition, especially if you're, you know, not entirely sure what you want to do, you could buy the vitality bits. It's convenient, and then you're getting spirulina and chlorella in one tablet. But you do have to take twice as much to get the same amount. So if you were going to take 10 spirulina and 10 chlorella, then you would need to take 20 vitality bits. But
so are we consuming a live organism or is it dead? Is it reproducible? Can it regrow based on what you've done to it already, or is it cannot?
That's a good question. I'm not sure.
Because that would be an interesting question because you know, is the value of it because of substances that it makes, or is it really valuable because it's live, you know, it's sort of like a prebiotic. Yeah. I'm not a fan of them personally, but you're putting into your body live microorganisms, or, you know, you're consuming a yogurt or other foods which contain live organisms that are seeding your gut. Do you know if any of this has a life form of itself in your gut?
I mean, I know that they contain live active enzymes and nutrients, but
Yeah,
I guess they're alive in the sense that the compounds are preserved, you know, the SOD, phycocyanin, stuff like that. I don't
Yeah, I mean,
but
it's the processing may prevent it from reproducing. So it's the minerals, vitamins, and the other molecules, the other phytochemicals, but we don't call it a phytochemical because it's not a algae chemical. Maybe Rick could help us on that. Because it's not a plant, right?
Well, algae is a plant. Yeah, so it's technically a plant.
Okay.
So when we talk about it being alive, I don't know the answer to your exact question, but when we talk about it being alive, we talk about everything that's preserved using the low heat drying process that preserves the enzymes. So superoxide dismutase, other nutrients that a high heat would destroy. But I don't know in terms of the way that I don't know. We can certainly find out because I'm curious now too.
So it's the phytochemicals that you're getting from this particular plant, which you're suggesting has some medicinal properties.
Certainly.
Although
yes.
it's not a medicine. It's a food.
That's a food. That's right. It's not a supplement. It's not a medicine. It's a food.
So it's not regulated by the FDA.
Correct. We're in a very unique category. So
food supplement. Do they call them food supplements?
We used to not be too particular about this, but in 2025, we actually changed all of our branding, and now you'll hear bits of food a lot more than energy bits because we want to help people understand that this isn't a supplement. This is a food that you can be working in as you would treat it more like a food than you would treat it as I need to take 3 of these a day and sort of lining up all your supplements for a day because we want people to reach for it as a healthy food option. But we do put a nutrition label on it because we want people to be able to see and understand exactly what's in it. And that's certainly all posted with full transparency on our website as well, so that people can learn and understand what's in it.
So algae is a protist, a diverse kingdom of eukaryotes from photosynthetic plants, but lack true roots, stems, and leaves. Similar cellular structures. They're plant-like, but lacking complex vascular tissues. While some algae can resemble fungi, they are distinct, with fungi being decomposers and algae being primarily producers, autotrophs. Okay. Sorry, I'm just getting back to the where do they belong in the life form kingdom?
So vegetable crop, bacteria. Based on what you're reading, Dr. Kiltz, what do you think?
Oh, it's called a protist. It's kind of in between. It doesn't have a root system per se. It may bind to things, but it doesn't. It's not the same. It's not everything fits neatly in our scientific classifications. Like Dr. Nelson and Dr. Kiltz don't fit nicely into the classifications.
No particular box for either of you, huh?
None.
Should we take this? What about egg whites? That's a question. What about egg whites?
I don't consume egg whites. I consume eggs. Again, this is one of the problems with modern nutrition. No other animal consumes a protein or a fat or a sugar, essentially. They either eat plants or animals or microbes or protists.
Yeah.
What's the natural enemy for algae?
Natural enemy.
I mean, is growing it is growing it a difficult process, or is it easy?
So in nature, it does pretty well because it just eats up anything it can find. Growing it the way that we grow it is not an easy process, especially to do it correctly, because it has to be an entirely controlled environment. So again, the triple filtered spring water and making sure that nothing else gets in that water, because algae eats everything. That's sort of
So
its
what do you feed it?
I don't know what they actually feed it in the water. Maybe that's the mystery that the Taiwanese growers don't share.
Or is it purely, well, I mean, it's not just water, it's just not sunlight and not completely CO2. There's got to be, other fertilizers and
But
nutrients.
if it were technically a plant, right, then it could sustain itself.
Well, plants, I mean, they require other they could matter to build. They contain another matter. They could require minerals and vitamins and other nutrients that nature provides, but much of it is simply CO2, H2O, and sunlight.
Sunlight, yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
That's a photosynthesizer.
Yeah.
But they do. They're in a completely sterile environment. Is it just H2O, CO2, and sunlight?
Yeah.
Photosynthesis.
I think I mean, if you compare it to an avocado tree, you want to grow an avocado tree, you have to plant the seed. If you plant it in a completely sterile dirt, okay, it's not going to grow. You need minerals, vitamins, the same things, nutrients to be combined with the sunlight and water to be able to grow. So there has to be something else besides the exposure to sunlight and water.
The our founder Catherine, who I continue to reference, she's going to Taiwan this year for the first time to meet with some of our growers, and is very transparent around wanting to start to grow algae here in the United States, most likely in Florida. Apparently here in Florida, we have the climate most similar to the climate that is supportive of growing algae. So that's one of her big goals as well, to bring it here so that it's a lot easier to control it and even more affordably bring it to market here in a high quality, safe way.
We'll take this as the last question before we start to wrap up. What's the brand name where it can be purchased?
The brand is Energy Bits, and you're going to be able to purchase it on your website.
Yeah, with the discount from Dr.Kiltz.
Yes. Energy Bits, we have a website. You're going to be able to purchase it directly through Dr.Kiltz at a discount. And, something else we also do, another way we offer it is the role that I spend the most time doing at Energy Bits is prestige partnerships. So I'm working with physicians, with prestige partners who are interested in offering it. So just like a physician would write a prescription, they say, hey, you need to be taking algae. Here's how much and here's why. And then can also get it that way, which is something that, as the nutritional benefits of algae are becoming more known and appreciated, especially within the medical community, we have quite a demand in that community, which is also really great to see.
Okay, here we go. Hashtag KMT. Who's going to win a t-shirt today? Let's see. It was going a little slower. Sue Middleton, congratulations. Please email me, Algea@drkiltz.com with your shirt size, and we will get that off to you. Do you want to take this last question, Dr. Kiltz?
Ashley. Well, yeah, it's a mix, again, is there a powder form? Do you have it in a powder form?
No. So if you want a powder, you just crush the tablet.
What about producing a powder form? Where does that fall into the product line, do you think?
We probably won't. There's no talks of doing it now. The tablet is just a lot more convenient. You can make the tablet into a powder, but you can't make the powder into a tablet. So we like the tablet.
So crush it up or flake it into your salad with mushrooms and leafy greens if you're in the omnivorous world.
Absolutely.
Great.
I mean, it's formed like we're going to call the word vitamins, supplements, although you claim it's not a supplement, but that's why a lot of people utilize it because they're not using it as their meal replacement.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, it's utilized as a supplement, essentially providing minerals and vitamins. Are there no, another one is maybe adding it to salts or, it's I guess you could crush it up with your salt and flake it in your food.
There are a lot of clever, fun ways to take it. And, we cover this a lot on our Instagram. We have a lot of people that make a trail mix and just keep it in their pantry because it does, last for quite a while. So you can mix it with nuts. You'll see us all eating it with a handful of macadamia nuts or pistachios or flavored pistachios, sprinkle it on a salad. I always keep some crushed up as powder in case I want to sprinkle it on anything. Also, totally unrelated to the health benefits, it's a beautiful blue color, the spirulina. It's like a peacock blue color that also is attractive and curious to mix into even just water. Yes.
I guess a little like methylene blue. It may have
Yes.
some methylene blue type benefits.
Yeah, it's a beauty. Yes, and the color is similar. Yeah.
Yeah. And again, this is all a conversation to give people a variety of ideas.
Yes.
And how many carnivores are taking supplements or minerals and vitamins and things like that, which, I mean, they're purist, eats cows and that's it, even no salt, right? Although most communities, that flourished, I mean, most of our communities really flourished by the sea and utilized salts and algae and seaweed and
Yeah. The best salt
macros
you
and
can find.
microbes, right?
Yep.
Cool.
All righty.
All right. So Ashley, where do people find you in this product?
Absolutely. So you can find us at energybits.com. You can certainly go to Dr. Kiltz's website first to access our products. Any information that you need is available at our website, and you can always reach out to me. I'll have my contact information shared as well. My favorite thing to do is educate, like you said, just to give good information and options to people who are interested in incorporating this in their existing diets and their journeys. So thank you so much for having me.
We appreciate you.
You're so
Thank
welcome.
you. Thank you, everyone, for being here. And don't forget to sign up for the meetup on the 7th and the dinner for, what are we going to do? 50 people, did we decide?
50 people. Yeah.
50 people
to the dinner
the night
at your
prior.
house. That's all that.
And
Yeah.
just a kind of intimate gathering, but it's going to meet everyone on Saturday, the 7th. Really excited about that here in Tampa. But there are many meetups out there, and show up one, create one. The more we do that, the better. Listen and learn from others. That's what this is all about. This is not like you can only do this.
Yeah.
Be open to ideas, and blessing to everyone, and grateful to everyone for being here. Ashley, thank you. Appreciate you.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you for being here today.
Okay. Bye, everybody.
Have a great
Bye,
day.
everyone.